Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Oh, my audio is very low.
Oh, it might be me. Sometimes my microphone doesn't pick my sound up very well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's getting better. We are live on YouTube.
Okay. Kathy says she's having trouble logging in to the HPC meeting.
Oh, was there a problem with the Zoom link, or did she not give one?
I don't know. I mean, I used the Zoom link and it worked, but she just said she has no luck logging in.
I would resend the Actually, I will see if I can. Yeah, since I'm in the meeting, I might not be able to open the meeting and send it.
Let me see if I can send her the link. Is it the same link? Like, could I just forward her the email you sent me?
Yeah, but as a panelist, she might have a unique
Unique. Yeah, that's what I was
link.
thinking.
She can join as an attendee and I can promote her.
Okay, that's what I was going to do. I'll just send her the link off of the calendar page. Okay, I just sent her the link. We'll see if that works for her.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. We are just trying to give Kathy and Kent a moment to see if they make it.
Okay. Am I the only one with video?
It seems that way at the moment. My own is not cooperating today.
Did you want me to forward you the Zoom link or?
I just sent her the one off of the city calendar page.
Okay.
See if she could join as an attendee and then we could promote her, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if Kent, I haven't heard that he wasn't going to be here, but I don't know. We'll give him a couple more minutes and then we'll get started without him. Paul, do you have the email that includes the webinar script to read at the start of the meeting in case Kent doesn't join us?
I do not have that.
Okay, I'll go ahead and
I can-
forward it to you.
Okay.
Okay, I sent it over. When you get that email, we should probably just go ahead and get started, and they'll jump on if they're able to.
All right. So we'll start the Zoom meeting for the Missoula Historic Preservation Commission Subcommittee for the Preservation Month. And thanks for joining the meeting being held via Zoom webinar. When I call for public comment, please use the raise and lower hand feature to let me know you wish to be recognized. Our host will allow you to talk, and you'll need to mute and unmute your mic. If you have joined us by phone today, you can raise and lower your hand by pressing *9 and mute and unmute using *6. If you're participating by phone, I'll call on you by reading the last 4 digits of your phone number. If you're participating by computer, I'll call the name that was listed when you entered our webinar. And I think that's it. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. Do we need to do roll call or anything?
Sarai, that's a you question.
I will do it. And Jim McDonald is present. Kathy is not present. Paul Felicity is present. And
All right.
Clint
Yeah.
Watson is not present.
Okay, thank you for that. So we last met earlier this month, February 2nd. And at that time, we talked about some of the options that are available to us, including tours, Women's History Month, a Geology Tour, A.J. Gibson Tour, pop-up exhibits, maybe some heritage talks, remote heritage type talks. And we also talked about and kind of landed on the idea of the Forest Service Museum, Forest Service history in Missoula as a possible focus for this year. And without Kathy, I don't know that we can talk too much about that. In terms of legacy type awards, we questioned looking at some of the legacy businesses, if you will, that are around the city, including Providence, St. Pat's, the railroad, and University of Montana, and of course, the Forest Service. And that's about what I have in my notes for last time. Sorry, I have a problem here. There we go. Does anybody else have any, or Elizabeth, do you have anything to add to that?
No, it seems like you covered what we went over last time pretty well. Kathy is still unfortunately having no luck getting into the meeting. We sent her another link and it's not working either. So hopefully she will figure out a way to get in. If not, we will, like you said, probably not make much headway on the Forest Service discussion. But I did send out the award categories. I don't know if y'all got that. I know Kathy was having trouble opening the document. So I'm not sure if it's just generalized tech problem or if there was a problem with the attachment.
I was
But
able-
that's
It was fine.
Okay. That's a big thing I would like to see us kind of get nailed down sooner rather than later so that we can get the awards, the submission process up and running for the month of March. And then figuring out a little bit more. I know we kind of started mentioning what that awards process might look like this year, but we don't have a lot of guidance at this point for what May is going to look like. So I think that together we should come up if we want to do some sort of virtual ceremony or just stick with posters and press releases or you know, kind of figure out what we want that to actually look like is an important step now so we can get that process actually rolling. And then I thought we might figure out how we can kind of break down the subcommittee's efforts so that we can get each of y'all involved in some aspect of this, which can open up for kind of more direct one-on-one work with me to get that all going. So I thought we could figure out who might be interested in helping tackle which parts of the planning process to make that a little easier.
Sure. So, hey, just a quick question for Jim. Do you know if the banners would be a part of this year's? Or who that is, that MRA or
That's the MDA, but we,
DA?
yeah. Nobody Preserve Historic Missoula has always paid for that, but they wanted to wait last year and they've said nothing this year. Matt Morgan, the chair. He said they weren't going to do anything this year as far as that. And I guess that's because we had hoped to have it at the bridge, but that's still up in the air too because of the bridge construction. So.
And do you know, and just in terms of that, do you have any idea what that cost?
It was I paid $100 and Preserve Historic Missoula, I think, was $350. So they must have been $450 for 18 spots. And we have 24 banners, but 2 of them are pretty rough shape. One patrol car trying to catch it ran over it and put a big tire marker across it. And so it isn't, I mean, it's okay, but it's got this tire mark across it. And but anyway, so we do have 24, but I think there was 14 on the hip strip and 10 on the south side of the bridge. But they're using that now for the Wildlife Film Festival and part of that because they don't have the access to the bridge except for the one side. And I see that's, I forget who, it's a new organization up there now. So, well, it isn't even a new organization, it's part of the downtown.
Okay. Because that would still be, or potentially could still be a component that we look at. In maybe we just skip the bridge and just do each side of the bridge or something.
Yeah, well, that's what we did last time because somebody else already had the bridge, but I haven't heard anything from the MDA this year. They usually reach out, but I haven't been putting up banners anywhere except for right on the one side of the bridge right now. So there's Kathy.
Good.
So anyway, but I can contact them tomorrow and just see if there's a possibility and what it would cost. If you want me to, I can go ahead and do that. And I've got all the banners, so.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Hi, Kathy. Can you hear us yet?
Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. I am
Awesome.
so sorry. I have no idea why I couldn't get in.
It's all right. Glad to have you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you, Surya.
So we were just talking about the banners, and Jim's going to look into the banners that usually go up downtown and see what he can find out in terms of that. Then I just gave a quick brief summary of what we talked about last month or earlier this month, just in terms of tours, women's history tour, geology tour, AJ Gibson tour, pop-up exhibits, potential remote events, heritage related remote events. And then the idea of the legacy businesses, including St. Pat's, Providence, the railroad, University of Montana, and then the Forest Service. And then the Forest Service Museum as a, that's where you come in.
So just to make clear, the Forest Service Museum is not part of the Forest Service. They are a full nonprofit with their own funding, and it's just because the government's weird. But they do, their building is on our compound. So I'm more than happy to talk to them.
Yeah, because I think where we talked about last or earlier this month was that idea that, hey, you know, Forest Service history, if we could use that as a basis for kind of a theme, if you will,
Yeah.
for this month's preservation or this year's preservation month.
Yeah. Along with everybody else's. I mean, it's just that our legacy businesses do have a lot of history.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, do you know, do we have a call for legacy business? Is that a part of that list?
I don't think we do. It seems like all I've been working from is just a running list of legacy businesses that was put together, I believe, by Emmy. I don't have a lot of information on how those legacy businesses were identified.
I think we mostly
Hoping y'all
just
had some insight.
Yeah, I think we sat around and said, hey, who's been here a while?
Yeah.
Well, I think we can also include places like the Wilma that didn't get recognized last year with their 100th anniversary. So there's a good list we can put together, and that's on the list of things for us to do.
We kind of limited it to one business for a certain group, like, didn't we do you remember, Kathy or Paul? We didn't want 4 bars that are over 100 years old, or we didn't want,
right.
We just picked one. So I don't know if we want to catch up on some of that with some of the others, but I know the Oxford, they said they didn't want anything to do with us. So that was the one that we changed. I forget who we got at the end there, but.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I know we did want to spread it around. Because wasn't Benson's Farm in there somewhere?
Yeah, Benson's Farm that last year. Yeah.
Okay, and Boyce Lumber.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
There were 3 or 4, I think. Well,
yeah,
there were 3 or 4 awards out of the 7 different categories here. We only had 4 awards that were in each of those areas.
And so the process for selecting those came from the committee rather than soliciting into the community?
Yes.
For nominations. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe on that score, we just start our own. And Elizabeth, you said you have a list. Is that right?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So maybe we can just work from that and fill in where we might otherwise not have something.
Yeah.
So just in terms of, for process, in the past, it seems like the majority of events occur on a Friday or Saturday night, towards the weekends, in other words. And there might be things during the week in terms of tours, but if we're doing self-guided tours, those could happen, just push those out through whatever websites and posters, or, however that can get out there. And then the awards ceremony usually was the last event of the month.
On a Thursday night.
That is, if we chose to do an award ceremony this year.
Right.
Well, and we might have an option with the Forest Service Museum in that their displays are out past the airport, and that possibly we could do something outside again, kind of like we did at Karis Nursery. We are at the mercy of the weather, and I don't know how much we want to pursue that. Or we could put up displays there for the other winners. I think it kind of comes down to do we think that we'll be comfortable by then being outside, not knowing anything that's going on with the virus?
Kathy, is Dave Stack, who runs the museum?
So Dave Stack does work there, but
Okay.
the director of the museum is Lisa Tate.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be happy to forward you her email. And I told her that I'd be giving her an update when we met again. And so I'll probably email her tomorrow. She's on site, I think, every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, the only reason I gave a talk to the veterans group on Friday, and Dave was there, and he said it was on Glacier, and he said the museum has a lot of photos on Glacier of the old chalets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty amazing what ends up there. I get their mail, and I always want to open the boxes, but anyway.
So the other thing we talked about it just in terms of tours, we don't have, and Elizabeth, correct me if I'm misunderstanding this, but I don't think you have information specifically on the tours that we could set them up as a self-guided tour. Is that correct?
That's pretty correct. Yeah, I have a lot of images that have the points on maps and have what those buildings are called. But I don't have any of the script information that would have been used when those were walking tours. So
part of that's my fault, because I was going to get you the AJ Gibson information when I did the bicycle tours of AJ Gibson buildings. We have the list, but I need to get you more information now. And part of it, actually, Emmy had part of it. I don't know if we can find that, but I found it the other day, some of the stuff she had put together for that tour. So I just have to supplement that, but I can put that together pretty quick before May. So
yeah, and if you can get that information to me, I can put it into an online form or self-guided form pretty quickly as well. So, and for any of the other tours y'all have done, if you want to see them turned into a digital and or self-guided, please reach out if you have any information connected to them.
well, we've done downtown tours, but I don't know, is that going to be in conflict with the MDA, who's charging to do the downtown tours now?
That's actually a good question.
Yeah, maybe we reach out to MDA as well and ask them, hey, can you participate in HP month, and maybe the tours are free or discounted, something.
Yeah. we do have, University of Montana, and then also the university neighborhood that we've done in the past, but that's going to take a lot more work than AJ Gibson or the downtown tour ones.
Can we invite people to walk on the campus on their own and just seek out the signs that are there?
Sure, we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, at least we call attention to it.
That
Call
kind of lines up
attention
with.
to the historic Corbin Hall that's being torn down.
Yeah.
Or part
I
of
think
it.
coming up with something for some younger audiences could be cool too. Coming up with things like scavenger hunts that kids can do to find things around town, try to shape the young minds with a mind towards preservation, I think is always a good thing. So I'll be working on coming up with something like that. I'll probably bounce some ideas off of all of you for that. But it could be something good to work with local schools. I mean, I know it's May, but get the kids appreciating our historic sites.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
There was a third grade teacher over at Lewis and Clark who worked with us a lot, and we did a lot of the tours for her class every year for the third grade class. But she's no longer, she retired, but she really liked it, and so did the kids. And that seems to be a good grade where they're really interested, and you get up higher, it's not so much interest anymore, and lower is a little too young yet. So, but that seemed to be the best one that I've been involved in, also with Lowell School. They used to have third graders there also participate. So I don't know, I'm sure we can come up with some good stuff. And I think we had a scavenger hunt with, I thought Philip or somebody had done something with the alphabet letters, and you had to find those elements on certain buildings in the downtown. And I can't remember how that all went, but
I have a vague recollection of that too, but that was 20 years ago or so.
yeah.
Just a little before my time.
Yeah.
Any other ideas for what y'all would like to see? I mean, in our partially COVID planning here, I think we're trying to come up with good options for those who want to still social distance and those who maybe don't.
Well, and we can certainly send them on a driving tour of Fort Missoula / the Forest Service buildings, because they can drive right by them. And then that also gets them around, if they check out the 2 Forest Service buildings, they can come around and see the officers' quarters, and then they can always go over to the fort and see other historic buildings. But it would just be something where we just have, because the Forest Service isn't going to let people in, obviously, but we can write that down.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And the museum has done in the past has helped us with some tours out there, especially showing where the internment camp was and all of that. And there's 3 buildings out there now that are part of that old camp. So we might see if they want to do anything there. They are having still a little problem because they're now back to very limited number of people in any of their tours, even in the building and stuff like that. I think they only allow 5 or 6 people at a time, which is really a lot. But I don't know if that helps or not.
I'll reach out to Matt out there and see if they have any interest in partnering together to come up with something.
Yeah.
Did we want to print up the legacy business stickers again?
We may still have some.
Okay.
I'll look into that when I'm in office next. And if not, yeah, I'll see about that.
The only thing I think we wanted to try and change was put the sticker part on the front of the label so you can put on inside the window rather than on the outside of the window. And I think that's just a process that we need to look at. So, because that was the thing, the other ones were stickers that went on the outside. And I know the one at the laundry is still there, so I haven't seen the other ones to see if they're still on the outside.
I'll check Karis because I drive by it every day.
Okay.
So I'll check tomorrow.
Yeah. And we can get that done, right, Paul?
You know, I think Emmy has all that had all that information. I think she's already, the new ones are, that Elizabeth has is probably the correct ones.
Oh, okay.
So just in terms of downtown tours, it's Missoula Downtown Association. It's Unseen Missoula Downtown Historic Walking Tour and a Public Art Tour. They're the three that I see on their website. One of the tours we had one year was a geology tour.
Yeah, I did that with Jim Sears, the geology professor at the university, and he just retired, but he's still around, and we could do that again. It's we talked about the stone and where it came from for the different building materials, and it actually was pretty neat.
Yeah, maybe all these things don't get captured this year, but it's the idea that,
Right.
if we can start gathering the information so that, we can have self-guided tours that people can have available to them.
Yeah, that one's a little difficult because it was just more Jim talking, and he probably would need to put something together, but he's got all the information. I mean, he knows it, and it's probably just a matter of getting it down on paper.
Well, and even if we don't get him to do it this year, if we worked with him maybe over the winter,
Mm-hmm.
it could be available next year because that's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Elizabeth, were you doing something on the Women's History Tour?
Yeah, it's been a work in progress that I'm hoping to have done by May.
Okay.
It'll primarily be self-guided,
Yeah.
but could certainly be once we're moving forward and know for sure what's up. Excuse me, we could probably pretty easily turn that into a guided tour as well. It's always easier to go from self-guided to guided than the other way around.
Sure. And then the other one we talked about was just Moon Randolph, knowing that they're always available for, seems like they've always participated in Preservation Month in some way.
Yeah, and I'll be meeting with them for one of our general meetings, I think next month. So I figured that's when I would bring that up and see if they had any interest in coordinating something.
Okay.
If nothing else, our HPC tour of Moon Randolph.
Well, the other one, we have a Lalonde meeting tomorrow afternoon, and they talked at one point of being able to get people out there just to see the Lalonde property. I don't know if we want to make that part of this year, or we can ask them if they want to do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that on my list to bring up with them.
Oh, good.
I think that would be really cool to get Lalonde a little more attention and awareness from folks. And this could be a really good way to do that.
Yeah. I don't know,
And
it's late Friday afternoon for that meeting, but
yeah, I know. Terrible time for that meeting, but, and then I don't know if the cemetery is going to be doing their bike tour or whatever they had last year. Paul, I assume they will be.
I heard that they were. It's kind of a self-guided thing.
Yeah.
Already, I don't know that they have that posted on the website.
Yeah, Stories and Stones got canceled again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if nothing else, if we could put together a calendar for people so they could see all the different options they have for May, that would be really helpful, even if they are self-guided or historic preservation adjacent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially if we did anything that was historic preservation adjacent, because we can focus on how this affects everything and it's integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of, we talked about using the city's Engage Missoula website as a platform for, maybe there's a page on that we can grab for Preservation Month that just has all this information there.
Yeah, and we also have our social media, which I admittedly don't keep up with as much as I should, but has a pretty decent following. So advertising on that will be good too. Okay. I think if we're ready to move on to the next topic, I think the best thing would be to figure out who wants to help coordinate what, and we'll assign Kent to whatever is left over since he is not here. So I don't know. When I was thinking about this, it seemed pretty obvious, really, Kathy. You and I working to coordinate with the Forest Service History Museum. Jim, you're the guy to go to for all the tours. So I thought we could work together to get something going and get your eyes on the tour materials that I'm putting together.
Okay.
Take advantage of your expertise there. And then
Sounds
Paul,
good.
a little bit of what we talked about on the phone earlier, maybe parsing that idea out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then working on the awards, legacy businesses, etc. Just again, it'll be easier for us to be able to coordinate one-on-one via email or however else to make more progress without having to do it in only, once, maybe twice a month. That makes it a little harder. So yeah, if that sounds good, and then whatever else we come up with, we can put Kent on, or he can jump on any one of these things as he feels comfortable. I'm not sure what he'll want to be in on, but are you all good with that labor breakdown?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then just to go back to the document, the Word document you sent through, in my quick review, it seems pretty good
Is
in
that
terms of the
the
categories.
award document?
Yeah.
The document you can't open for whatever reason,
Yeah.
Kathy. I don't know why you can't open it. It's just
I've tried on the iPad, the iPhone, and my main computer, and I cannot get to it.
Shoot.
But anyway,
I'll copy and paste them into an email for you so you can take a
I'm
look
so
at them
sorry.
and let me know if you have any issues with the categories.
I don't know what it is today, but I do apologize. So that's why I'm working from home, because nothing's working.
This is from several years ago, but I think, Paul, you were the one that really went through it and put it all together, and everybody agreed that it was in pretty good, everything that is showing there is what we need to do as far as the different awards. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with it. I think it's great.
The only thing I was thinking, just because it's happening and we've seen it, is this idea of reconstruction of historic details. We don't specifically name that in here. And I don't know that we have to parse it out that much, but it's just that I didn't see it named.
Yeah.
we say restoration and preservation of historic character defining features of the building, reuse of historic materials, maintain historic significance and architectural integrity. I mean, it's probably covered in those categories, or in that, like under commercial building. I can share my screen because I'm looking at it. Share. Are you all seeing that?
Yes.
And Kathy, I can blow it up if it's too small.
No, I can blow it up on my iPad. Thank you.
Okay. So just in terms of those, if we're talking commercial, restoration, residential, adaptive reuse, and compatible addition, and then we have the two awards.
And we could certainly add a line to it, because you are right. It's more. If we wanted to add it under maybe adaptive reuse, or are you thinking a whole separate category?
I was thinking we just throw it in under commercial restoration.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too.
Just so that, for those people who are out there, that they know that it's like, yeah, that still works. If you're doing, reconstruction of historic features, that still is part of the award process.
Yeah, I'll add that in there to make
Thank
sure.
you, Elizabeth.
Any other comments or feedback on this list? And Kathy, I know you'll need time to look it over once I send it over to you, but.
No, I actually pulled it up from a previous, I think 2 or 3 years ago, just so I assumed it was the same document. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Well, I will try to get we're still trying to work out the details on how we're going to go about the submissions for the awards, but I will try to get that up and running as soon as possible, at the absolute latest by the end of the first week of March, hopefully. Give people a month to do their submissions, and then go from there in April to figure out who the actual winners are and what we want that to look like. Does that sound good with y'all?
Yep.
Yeah. I think the
Are
big
we
thing
think-
is,
Oh, go ahead.
I think the big thing is under the nomination must have the following. For many of the ones, I think the last time we did it, we just got a name and a property, and that was it. And we didn't get any follow-up of owners, photographs, all that stuff. So we really have to make sure that if somebody's going to nominate something, we need to pull all this together where you don't have to go out and do it, Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jim.
Are we thinking that we're going to have a March meeting, or
I would assume yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, for this group or for the main HPC?
For the main HPT. Yeah.
HPC.
Main.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I was confused which group you were talking about.
All of them. Anyway, so if we need to report back to the larger group, we can just email them, correct? If we want to say, hey, here's the award rules, start thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't see why that would be a problem to
Okay.
just do via email. Any
Okay.
thoughts?
So Elizabeth, we'll just wait to hear from you for individual meetings and kind of work from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jim, when you talked to MDA about the banners, is that what you were going to do? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Yep.
When you talk to them, could you talk to them also about that, the tours, and just in terms of like what the level of participation might be?
Sure.
Get a sense of that. You know, the other thing, you know, just in terms of Forest Service as a venue for the live event, if you will, we could, I love the idea of the Lalonde Ranch doing some sort of an open house out there and working with maybe even the brewery. I don't think the winery's out there anymore, but you know, maybe there's something we could do that between the two spaces that kind of, I know Preserve Historic Missoula usually does beer and wine for our events. So we need to check in with them as well. But if there is an option to do a live event, that space, there's no restrooms, I suppose, but certainly the space is big enough for outdoor events.
Yeah, we're going to be a little careful because the county or city can't promote anything with alcohol on it. So the way we did it before was that we had Preserve Historic Missoula, but it was a whole separate thing that we didn't put in any of our advertising or anything. So,
Well, maybe since we're promoting so much travel around Missoula, maybe all we provide is water or soft drinks. And then we just avoid the whole alcohol thing. Especially if we're going to have people go between Lalonde Ranch and the Forest Service Museum.
Yeah.
but maybe the brewery's willing to do something just a special and people can go over there if they want.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, is there any chance of like a free drink ticket or something?
Yeah, could be something. But they'd have to do it and the city can't promote that. You've got to be careful about that.
Okay. Is there anything else?
So when I talk to the Forest Service, at this point, all that I'm saying is that we want to recognize a legacy business. We intend to honor the Forest Service and the museum and our history. Further details are forthcoming. Anything else at this time? Because I mean, the Forest Service is a little weird about public affairs.
I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of legacy businesses and employers, you know, that idea that,
Right.
you know, the legacy employer.
So was it 1916? Is that right, Kathy? That was the Park Service, I know.
Yeah,
I think it was.
it kind of depends on if you go with the official act, when Gifford Pinchot was running around, or when Region 1 actually was put together. So I'll nail some of that down.
Okay.
Just in terms of the railroad, when we think about that as a
Oh,
legacy employer, are we talking BNSF?
I guess so now. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because isn't that merger or takeover, that's complete, correct?
If it isn't, it's pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, it will be by the time we have our awards.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe that's one thing that we wait a year on them.
Yeah. Let them settle out.
Yeah, and won't the restoration of the
Milwaukee.
yeah, thank you. Won't what would that be done by next year?
Knock on wood, it should be. Yeah.
And the Northern Pacific Depot, they just put a new roof on that.
Yep.
It's looking pretty nice.
So just so we're all kind of thinking about it, in terms of legacy employers, we had Providence, St. Pat's, however that you want to think of that, the railroad, University of Montana, and the Forest Service. Those are the primary ones that we discussed. Does anybody have any others like to add to that list?
Boyce Lumber, but they're
Okay.
pretty small, but they do have a display as you walk in of some of their early tool. Well, it's, old typewriter and their original signage and whatnot. I haven't been in there for a couple of months, but that's the only reason it popped into my head, and that doesn't have to be done right now.
They 1917, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
How about churches?
Oh. Yeah.
I mean,
Question I have, Paul.
Yeah.
Do we want to include churches in the legacy business as their own category?
yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, probably separate from legacy
Leg-
business.
Legacy institutions,
Yeah.
however we want to word it.
Mhm. Is there any farm implement dealers that have been around, or was that all under the Merck? Or even auto dealers?
Well, the Studebaker, what is Studebaker, Paul? Was that was 22, right? 1922?
Yeah, that became DeMorris.
Yeah.
But TW, whoever was before TW, and then Carl.
Yeah. So on the Ford dealership, it was on 4th Street there,
Yeah.
hip strip.
We can celebrate the combustion engine. Okay. Anything else that anybody can think of?
I guess just let's be careful. We don't have too much that we can't all do.
Yeah.
We may have to really,
Yeah.
next time, really, look at everything, make sure we can get what we can done for May.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could always cut back.
Yeah, it's better to have a big list to work from and choose where to go from there. And carry over the rest for next year if need be.
Okay. Well, thank you all for your time. I'm sorry Kent wasn't here to join us.
Well, thank you for waiting for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for making the effort to get on. That helped. That was really helpful.
And I didn't even throw anything out in the street.
And I will reach out to y'all about establishing the next group meeting so that we can have Kent present in one of these. And once we've gotten some individual work done and can make some updates and progress, we will hold another group meeting and or update the main HPC as needed. So I know that was I think I jumped ahead. That's the next agenda item, but whatever. I'll reach out to y'all about that.
Is it possible to do something in the next 2 weeks? Reason is I'm going to be gone on the 16th of March through April 1st. So
I think that you,
yeah,
sorry. I think that you and I could get a meeting together before then. The likelihood of the subcommittee coming back together, probably not in the next
Okay.
2 weeks. But we can definitely get something one-on-one scheduled, Jim.
Sure, that sounds good. Yep.
And that's all I've got, Paul. Sorry.
Nope, that's good. All right. Well, that's it.
All right.
Thank you all again. And
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to y'all later.
See you
All
later.
right. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Soraya.
Thank you.